Welcome. Let's start the interview. Please introduce yourself.
Sure, sir. My name is Mark. I have worked as an AC technician for 7 years. I specialize in troubleshooting split ACs, diagnosing refrigerant issues, handling electrical faults, doing routine maintenance, and installing new units. I'm confident in both residential and commercial systems.
Okay, can you explain the refrigeration cycle in a split AC?
Yes, sir. So basically, the refrigeration cycle has 4 main components: compressor, condenser, expansion device, and evaporator. First, the compressor compresses the low-pressure refrigerant and turns it into a high-pressure gas. Then this gas moves to the condenser, where it releases heat and becomes a high-pressure liquid. After that, it passes through the expansion valve, which drops its pressure. Finally, it enters the evaporator coil, where it absorbs heat from the room and becomes low-pressure gas again. And this loop keeps repeating.
Good. So tell me, how do you check refrigerant levels accurately?
So to check refrigerant levels properly, I always use a manifold gauge set and compare the pressure readings with the manufacturer's pressure temperature charts. If the suction line is too low, it might indicate undercharging, and if pressures are unusually high, it can indicate overcharging or airflow issues.
Excellent. What are the common causes of low cooling performance?
Usually the main causes are dirty air filters, clogged condenser coils, low refrigerant charge, faulty capacitor or weak compressor, improper airflow due to blower issues, undersized AC unit. I always check airflow first, because many cooling problems come from restricted air movement.
Good. How do you troubleshoot a compressor that is not starting?
First, I check the power supply and voltage. Then, I test the capacitor, because a weak or blown capacitor is a very common reason. I also check the overload protector, refrigerant pressure, and wiring connections. If the compressor is hot, I let it cool down before restarting. And if the windings are burnt or the compressor is locked, then replacement is the only solution.
Okay, explain the difference between R22 and R410, refrigerants.
R22 is an older HCFC refrigerant that is being phased out because it damages the ozone layer. R410A is an eco-friendly HFC refrigerant with higher pressure and better efficiency. And yes, sir, the gauges, pipes, and equipment are different because R410A operates at higher pressures.
What safety precautions do you follow while handling refrigerants?
I always wear gloves and safety goggles. I avoid releasing refrigerant into the atmosphere, so I use recovery machines. I store cylinders upright, check for leaks with soap solution or electronic detectors, and make sure the room is ventilated. And of course, I never mix different refrigerants.
How do you test an AC capacitor?
To test a capacitor, I disconnect the power, discharge the capacitor safely, and then use a multimeter in microfarad mode. If the reading is below the rated value, the capacitor is weak or bad. A weak capacitor can cause the blower motor or compressor to struggle or fail to start.
Good. What steps do you follow in split AC maintenance?
For proper maintenance, I clean indoor filters, wash indoor evaporator coil, clean outdoor condenser coil, check refrigerant pressure, inspect electrical connections, clean blower and drain tray, check cooling performance. This improves efficiency and prevents breakdowns.
Okay, how do you detect a refrigerant leak?
First, I visually inspect joints and coils. Then, I use soap solution for visible bubbles. For small leaks, I use an electronic leak detector. UV dye can also be used in some cases. After finding the leak, I repair the joint, vacuum the system, and recharge it properly.
What will you do if the outdoor condenser fan is not running?
I check the capacitor, because a faulty fan capacitor is the most common cause. I also check voltage at the fan motor, wiring, relay, thermostat signal, and fan motor winding resistance. If the motor is seized or burnt, replacement is required.
Okay, Mark, final question. How do you know the AC is properly charged?
Depending on the system, I check superheat, subcooling, suction and discharge pressures, temperature split across the evaporator. Manufacturers give charts, and I match readings with those values. Proper charge ensures correct cooling and efficiency.
All right, great. That's all for today. You gave very clear and detailed answers. We'll get back to you soon.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the opportunity.